Praggnanandhaa is adjusting his pieces. He takes on the world number 2 Fabiano Caruana at the halfway mark of the FIDE candidates. This is round number 7. You have Caruana coming in, adjusting his pieces. Pragg has just left the board. He is in the refreshment zone. And Caruana is such a strong player. Pragg comes here and so does Caruana. They shake hands. The last time they played against each other was at Tata Steel recently, and the game had ended in a draw. Currently, Caruana has a small plus against Pragg, but let's see how this one goes. The clocks have begun. Fabiano opens the game with 1 e4, very logical move. And Praggnanandhaa is thinking what should be his first move here. He has played e5 in this event. And he touches his e-pawn but plays it only one square. French defense. Oh my god. French defense is on the board. Can you believe it? Well, I'm stunned because Pragg has played the French defense for the first time in his career. And what a game to choose to do that. Such a crucial juncture where both of them are trailing the leaders by just half a point at the tournament. Wow, that's some bravery. Let's go to the game now. It's the advanced variation played by Caruana with pushing his pawn to e5. Pragg gets his knight out to c6, attacking the pawn in the center on d4. Knight comes out to f3, defending it. And now Pragg puts more pressure with his queen. It's very interesting opening here. White has the space, but black tries to counter punch on the d4 point. a3 is played to actually resolve the stress over here between these two pawns. So you want to go b4. Pragg goes bishop d7. He's making his moves quickly. He's well prepared here. And Caruana goes b4, forcing Pragg to decide what to do. Does he want to push the pawn? Does he want to take here? Taking, of course, is the right decision. Pragg takes. Pawn takes happens, and now you can see that black has only one issue in this position, and that is his bishop here on d7. It's slightly worse, but now Pragg gets his rook over here and maybe looking at this bishop, and Caruana quickly plays bishop b2, defending this pawn. So as long as white can defend his key points, he would be doing well because he has space. So Pragg goes knight e7 and the knight is coming to f5, and then there will be 3 attackers. Knight comes out to c3. Interesting. The knight is actually ready to go to a4, attack the queen and jump into c5. Pragg plays knight a5. If you take the knight, then queen takes b2 wins. And so right now Caruana has to decide what to do. Bishop d3 is what Pragg had played against Burkesh at the World Cup, but Caruana goes knight a4, and his point is if you take, queen takes, white is already doing very well here. So Pragg now goes queen c6, and he says if you take my knight, I will take yours. Very interesting decision there by Pragg. And Fabi moves his knight to c5, attacking here the bishop, and now also the knight on a5 is hanging. So Pragg moves his knight to c4 and now attacks the bishop on b2. Bishop c3 played here by Caruana, and Pragg is kind of well prepared here. He goes b6. He knows his theory. He has 1 hour 49 minutes. Caruana also might have studied this at some point, but the crux is that he must not have looked at it today, so the details must be a bit vague in his head. Knight takes d7, and now queen takes back on d7. So the problem bishop is gone, and in a way you can say the opening has turned out pretty decently for black. But white can boast that he has the bishop pair and more space. But I like Pragg's next move, g6. It limits the bishop, prepares knight f5, and also prepares the dark squared bishop to come out from this way. So very multi-purpose move. Queen comes to e2 here, And now Pragg is thinking about what exactly he ought to be doing, and a very nice move h5, because he is now planning to put his knight on f5. g4 will no longer be possible, also preparing bishop h6. So the bishop comes to d2, and in fact now Pragg can take the bishop here and then play bishop h6. He takes it, and this is a very flexible way of playing, because this is white's bad bishop, but at the same time Pragg realizes that now white no longer has the bishop pair. At the same time, with less space, if you exchange pieces, it's better for you, and that's exactly what Pragg is doing. And now his remaining pieces are pretty good. Caruana goes for this very interesting move, pinning the queen. Pragg has only one move at his disposal to save material, and that is to go knight to c6, and this is a normal natural move. Knight comes to f3 now, and Pragg goes simply short castles. One of the things that is in white's favor is black's favor is that the white rook cannot come to c1, and that really helps. So Pragg is able to now unravel, come out of the pin. Exactly, queen e7 played, and so the bishop is no longer pinning the knight. Black has kind of solved all his opening problems, and now will this game become more exciting? Let's see. Bishop a6 hitting the rook. Now the rook has to move. Rook c7. Pragg's dream is to play knight b8, kick the bishop out, double the rooks on the c file, and enter. That's what he would like to do. Caruana plays rook d1. He is definitely irritated by the fact that this bishop is such a strong piece on h6. And now Pragg plays his knight back to b8. Good move. The bishop has to move away, and maybe Caruana plays bishop to d3 here. Yes, he plays his bishop, and he has a small threat, b5. For example, if you go rook c8, b5 followed by a4, a5 could be very strong. So Praggnanandhaa plays the timely move a5. Very strong, very nice. And he hits the white's queen side. White now takes. Caruana takes the pawn. Pragg takes it back. And these two pawns on a3 and a5 could become potential weaknesses for both sides. Caruana immediately attacks it on a5, and Pragg now has to defend it somehow. Rook a7 would be passive. Your rook is well placed. Natural and logical is to bring the knight to c6, defending the a5 pawn and improving the position of the knight. He goes rook b1, and perhaps this is not the most ideal move. Pragg can actually now go g5 with the idea of g4 attacking the d4 pawn, and it would be very strong. But Pragg goes rook a8. He's trying to be very cautious here. Maybe rightly, it's considering this game is very important from the tournament standings perspective, also at the halfway mark, but at the same time getting this g5 even now would be a very logical way to go. Pragg goes queen d8. He doesn't go for this move g5. He's trying to play it slow here. And now Caruana, will he give up his bishop for the knight? No, he first goes g3, and g3 is just a good little move. King g2 coming up, just improving the position quietly. And now Pragg keeps his knight. Maybe the knight jumps to f5 to put pressure here. Maybe h4 at some point. Caruana goes king g2. Well, I somehow like black's possibilities here, because mainly of the fact that the c file is in his control. So queen c8 played by Pragg, and now Caruana plays queen d1. So both sides making little progress here, slow and steady, and hoping that the other side makes some rash decision, or at least some decision. Rook c3. Pragg enters with his rook, and Caruana offers a rook trade. He plays rook b3, more pieces that come off the board, the better perhaps for white now, because black does have a very good harmony in his position. Queen c7 with the idea of bringing the other rook to c8. Caruana plays rook b1, and I think overall Caruana can be happy with his position here, what he has got. Well, Pragg wants to play his rook to b8. That's a very little tricky move, because you are putting your rook opposite the bishop, but there are two rooks behind it. So Caruana plays a4 and fixes that bishop, and Pragg plays rook to c2. Maybe it's time to trade the rooks here. Yes, he plays rook b2, and now maybe the players can repeat with rook c3, rook b3. We'll see if Pragg wants to play for a draw or he wants to play for the full point. He does go rook c3, and Caruana can repeat with rook b3 here. But he goes knight g1. Is Caruana being slightly ambitious here? Maybe he wants to get his knight to e2 to kick the rook away. And Pragg says, well, it's time for me to trade off pieces, because once the knight would come to e2, actually this rook would not have many squares to go back to. So take, queen takes, and the last few moves of the game were this. We do not have them on the camera, but nothing much happened. The rooks came here and the players agreed to a draw in 41 moves, and that is how the game ended. It was a fantastic game between these two players, especially Praggnanandhaa once again showing his bravery on the board, choosing openings that he has never played before. French defense for the first time. What a guy.